Okay. Alright, we ran. Actually, let me close this out and go to here. Right. Go to Yamazaki'S profile. Watch live. Let's see, live for here, and then we go to over here. Right, which should be opening up excellent connection. Okay. Yeah, so, okay. So, we're both live on YouTube and Twitch. Right, homies? Sorry, everybody. Yeah, like... Damn, like, updates, bro. Damn updates. I'm like, sweet lord, dude. Sweet lord. All of a sudden you started like updating some things, and then all of a sudden the stream goes like south real fast. Like, come on. Come on, homies. You can do better than that. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, we're live. We're just waiting for this, like... Man, this Tekken update. This Tekken update is taking so long. Tekken update is taking too damn long. Why? Why, senor? Why? Why must you do this? It shouldn't be like this. Okay, hopefully bide it out. If we start playing something, it will pause the update, which we don't want to have. Which we don't want to have. Huh. 0.9 minutes. Right. Bot Ricks. Bot Ricks. Title, game, error, no category found. No category found. So we already beat Yamazaki. We talked about Daredevil. Now we're just gonna be chilling, right? Just playing some video games, right? Things like that. Conflicted whether to start up Marvel or play Devil May Cry. I think I'm just like leaning towards Devil May Cry at this point. I'm gonna play something, you know. And I was like in a Devil May Cry binge. Just thinking about DMC. Just playing Devil May Cry Quattro. Okay. Nightbot's working. Damn, what's taking this patch so long? What the hell? I gotta go to bed soon. Let me see the installation. Estimated time? It just keeps on ticking. What's going on? So the download is complete, but the installation files is almost like, oh my god, bro. What's going on? The modem is like working. Oh. Oh, I heard. New deals at Dunkin'. Buy any drink, get a half dozen donuts for $3. Oof. This shit's gonna make me fat. Dude, now the timer is increased. What the hell's going on? It's like my space running out. Hopefully this doesn't crash my PC. Open like File Explorer. Okay. Oh, that's OneDrive. No. I don't want OneDrive. I don't want OneDrive. Yeah, like, should have plenty of space. Yeah, I don't know. Probably it's some weird, like, installation properties. Duncan. Yeah, okay. Damn, it just like goes back and forth. Maybe it's because of the traffic that everybody's Maybe it's because of the traffic that everybody's downloading the patch. Is that it? Ah. Hmm. Oh, just move my controller. That's right. Oh Allah. What's this? I'll close that. Not really anything much we can do, right? I don't want to like pause it. Uh, ow. Hmm. Damn, man, nothing. Hmm. Hmm. New seasons of Daredevil Born Again could be released every year. I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Chief. Man. Ouch. Ouch, bro. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's now 23 though, at least, but still. At this point, I'm just like gonna close off Steam because it's not worth it. It's taking way too long. Yeah, maybe it's just like traffic. If we wait 22 minutes, it'll probably be like 1 or something. Oof, my nose. Wow. My nose. Damn, I don't know how I got a cold, man, all of a sudden. God damn. Play like some other random games, but like, it's already nighttime. PC games are like the only ones I could play right now. Hi-Fi Rush. But I've already completed most. Oh no, I'm missing like missing like some other goodies. Oh no, just jumped to 24. That's just lovely. I saw it was 22. Now it's 24. Now it's 24. That's just great. That's just fucking peachy. Man. Yeah, it's not going down anytime soon. Open download settings. Updates. Limit download speed. Yeah. Throttle downloads. High quality Steam remote play. Clearing cache. The download cache might resolve issues downloading or starting apps. Clear cache. Try it and see. Maybe that could be it. Prevents like downloads. Downloads is complete, but installing. No, let's cancel. I say I just like. I'd say I would just like go to bed. $24. Jeez. It's at like 98% and still like stuck there. Oh. Bro. I would just play DMC5 for the fuck of it though. Fuck it, man. It's not pausing. Let's just play DMC. Something to make me feel better. Right? Let's just play like some Devil May Cry to chill. Okay. Let's just go boot up this thing. Synchronizing Steam, launching executable, right? I'll play like some Devil May Cry here. Devil May Cry. And I forget, special edition, that's right. Or it's... Ah, there you go. I was like, the fuck? Oh, because maybe the download or something like that. Hopefully that doesn't affect, you know. Yeah, maybe it's like download traffic. A lot of people are downloading Tekken, the update. That could be it. Probably try again tomorrow when there's like less congestion. What's that? Unruly. Unruly. X marks the spot. Oh, 99%. That's lovely. It's 99. Wonder what changed it. Did actually DMC help boost it? And it took a long time to load up, right? Loading. Oh. Load successful. Save successful. Yeah, probably. Damn, this is a big ass download for Tekken. Holy shit. Yeah, now it's even like loading up. Where's my daily gold orb? For some reason, I had to like hover the mouse to make it close. Oh, I have a controller. Fuck me. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that shit, chat. I was like, man. Would love to go to bed. Yeah, the download is causing so much issue. Yup.
Devil may cry.
This download is causing so much stutter. Gotta quit the game. Yeah, I'm gonna absolutely quit the game. That is just horrendous. I can't play DMC. I can't play DMC. Where are we at with this? Where are we at with this, bro? Oh my god. It's 1.3 gigs. How hard is it to just to get like 1.3 gigs? How hard is it? Can't play like some of the cutscenes though. Allah, excuse me. Ugh. It's like 15 minutes away. By that point, we'll already be like going to bed. I'll be stretching to bed like 1:30. Anything DMC related? DMC4 anime cutscenes. Lore. Timeline. The complete timeline of Devil May Cry explained by Mojo Plays. Lore run for beginners. Story. How about character analysis? Let's do like character analysis Virgil. Virgil's inferiority. Blinded by trauma. 15 years of Virgil. Let's see this one. Or
power is the measure of a man. Without strength, how can you protect anything? Protect yourself. The Alpha and the Omega. Virgil.
right. Oops.
The man, but that doesn't mean you'll catch me sleeping on my main man Virgil over here. The man is a powerhouse. When you can stop bullets by swinging your sword, line them all up, and then send them back, then you are a certified badass. And that's not all he can do. There's slicing through dimensions, providing these hands, and he's just so fast. Virgil is not a man to be trifled with. There is one thing that motivates Virgil in this world,
Stots.
and that is power. For the entirety of the series, Virgil has been defined by an insatiable lust for achieving new power. It was this desire that made him try to summon the demon tower Temenegru to undo the seal between the human world and the demon world,
Right.
in order to gain the power of his late father Sparta.
Sparta.
You know, the guy powerful enough to place that seal on these different planes of existence in the first place. He
Yeah.
was also willing to tear his own son's arm off to regain his lost power. Virgil
Right.
very much is willing to do anything to gain power, to the point that it is obsessive. But why is he like this? Why are you the way that you are? To understand Virgil's lust for power, we actually have to examine his other half. The half he despises and quite literally cast out.
V.
His humanity.
Or,
We must
yeah.
examine how his indifference and borderline hatred for humanity came to be. And we can do so by examining V.
Yeah.
The inclusion of V into the series is not only a beloved one, he's so goddamn cool! But also a useful one.
Well, V is like... Some people are like iffy about... Well, I don't know, some people. I thought V was like cool when he first showed up. Gameplay wise, he's not that great. Just wizard master. Summoning all your different like creatures and stuff. He was nothing too crazy in terms of the stylish gameplay. And all the other shits that some of the other characters in previous DMCs can do. But he is important for the lore, right? As the video said, he's Virgil's humanity, right? Something that like cast out for his obsession of power. All of his weaknesses, all of his failures, all of his like trauma is built onto like V. And it shows like his weak side, and it definitely shows like, you know, the more you see like V, the more he like crumbles like away. That's like Virgil's like damn, I didn't like really think about it. It's like the more power he acquires, the more he like shuns away his like human half. Dante and Virgil are half human, half demon, right? Sparta, Eve, like marriage, shit like that. So overall, I didn't think V was like cool. I think he's okay, but it's not like someone I would like gush about. Just this man who would like read poetry a lot, you know, speaks in like tongues, right? Shit like that. It's nothing like too extraordinary, you know. It's nothing too crazy.
For
But
understanding
okay, sure.
Virgil's more human side, because he is the literal embodiment of his humanity.
Yep.
Virgil, in his most desperate ploy for power, used the Yamato to completely separate his human half from his demon half.
Naked feet.
Understanding this origin suddenly gives Virgil so much more depth as a character. V is very calm and reserved. He had an air of mystery around him that made it really hard for anyone to be able to get a read on the guy, which is
Mystery around him. He's more like, yeah, mystery. When you first see him as like this guy that's like the linchpin, right? Ultimately towards like the end of the game. But knowing more about V, I read like his like comic, or read like the manga of V. Yeah, he's a frail little bitch. He didn't know how to fight, but more he uses like
Which is why
his
Nero
summons.
couldn't really trust him fully at first. However, the most distinctive aspect of his personality is his love for literature. V is constantly reciting poetry for pretty much anything. When he answers a question,
I'm just saying that running away is okay. It's always okay to run away if you're not at work.
He who desires but act not breeds pestilence. So
it is written.
Okay, Shakespeare.
when he's doing a little banter with his enemies,
Yep. He's the poet of Devil May Cry.
not in this lifetime. as the air to a bird, or the sea to a fish, so is contempt to the contemptible.
Hell, he even does it while fighting.
Yeah.
Hours of folly are measured by the clock, but of wisdom, no clock can measure.
Sure.
Die.
This seems like just a fun quirk of his, but I believe it serves as a much more deeper look into Virgil's humanity. Literature often serves as an emotional outlet for people who cannot convey their emotions through regular conversation. Sometimes people find it easier to create art rather than just talk about their problems. It can be a helpful coping mechanism for those who suffer from trauma, and is often used in therapy itself to help get at the core of understanding the person's emotions. Virgil always keeps himself composed, maintaining an aura of control that gives the illusion he has it all together, but V shows us that there is still a vulnerability to him. After all, I think having your family be slaughtered by demons and feeling helpless to stop the event definitely counts as trauma.
Yeah, and that's types of traumatic experiences: sexual abuse, physical assault, emotional abuse, psychological maltreatment.
Can be squeezed.
The trauma that Virgil faced, and both him and Dante, is that all of a sudden, out of like a blue moon, once like in a blue moon, demons raided the shit out of Dante and Virgil's house and killed the shit out of Eve, Dante and Virgil's mom, right? Dante was inside the house while Virgil was outside getting, like, you know, a book or something, right? To make amends probably to, like, Dante, because they always have, like, sibling quarrels, right? Things like that. They were so devastated by that. One, like, hid in horror, but decided to become a better man. The other saw, like, a shock of, like, what happened, and was even, like, almost killed by demons themselves. But that only added to Virgil's trauma, because he was outside of the perspective. He was outside of that incident. And that's where the infamous line, "If our roles would have been, like, switched, would I have your life and you mine?" Maybe if Virgil didn't, like, leave to get, like, a book from someone, you know, maybe he could have been there, but no, I was still, like, too weak. Granted, you were still, like, a kid. What can a kid, like, do? Unless you're, like, a big baller. But no.
Squeezed right in there, just barely. So it's understandable and completely human for V to have such a fondness of literature. Remember, this is Virgil's humanity given its own form, so he retains all of the knowledge and memories of Virgil. It's natural that the trauma he experienced would make him reserved, finding solace through an artistic outlet. And we didn't even...
Right? The feelings that V would have are literal, like memory manifestations that V himself would feel, cause V is half of Virgil. V is literally half of Virgil. So whatever V himself experiences is not really, like, his own thoughts, rather his, like, memories of another man. Memories of a man who's been through defeat after defeat. Being possessed by Mundus, right? Killed by Dante once again, you know, and being a vagabond until, like, DMC5.
Technically need to examine V for this, because Virgil always had a love for literature, but it makes sense that now he has an even stronger connection to it. This is what Virgil's humanity looks like, the vulnerability he displays to Nero and Trish about the mistakes he's made, and his fondness for literature to help cope with his trauma. Now, these features may be only shown in V, but they still come from Virgil.
Yep.
Yes, the same no-nonsense, takes himself too seriously, will square up on sight Virgil.
We'll square up on sight.
The embodiment of Virgil's humanity may mean that these features are exaggerated when presented from him, but they're still a part of Virgil's being. It shows that despite wanting to become more demonic, Virgil held some very human characteristics.
Right? If he could have been, like, full demon, he could have, like, cut up, like, children as much as, like, you know, he wanted, but that was not really like the case for Virgil. No, he's still like a man who, you know, still has mannerisms that is not totally like archetypal like demon, like, you know, have you hear like demons like you waste a feculate like scum. They're like very honorable. They're very, well, not very honorable. They're very like, you know, in their nature. Virgil has like lines that says like, blast, be gone. I'll try it your way for once. He still has like some humanity. My sincerest apologies, brother. I was so eager to see you. He even has like a playful, like, you know, quote unquote playful aspect for Virgil, right? Even like toward the end, like, where did you learn to count? He's still human, like through and through. He doesn't like show it, right? Showing like your weakness, right? Which is psychologically like male thing. You don't ever want to show weakness to like anybody. You want to show this like cool, couth like side of you, not show like anything, not show like anything else about you. Rather, show off your most strongest personality. Show that you're more trustworthy. Show that you have 4 cars, 2 houses, right, and 6 Rottweiler dogs, living in like California. You be the magnet. You are a strong alpha persona. Something like that.
And this he could not accept. You see, Virgil connects his weakness to being human. Ironically enough, the explanation for this just further proves how human he is.
How human he is,
Virgil
exactly.
has a superiority complex. Loyal viewers will remember this term from when we covered Zed way back in the day.
Oh.
This term originates from Alfred Adler's individual psychology theory. Alfred Adler developed his theory on personality by making inferiority the driving force behind human behavior. According to individual psychology, humans are motivated by feelings of inferiority that developed early in our lives. These could stem from
very true.
Things. Physical inferiority, like being born shorter or not as strong, or emotional inferiority, such as not feeling loved. This theory focuses on these feelings of inferiority and how they influence all of our actions. As we grow older and continue to leave these feelings unchecked, Adler believed that these feelings are usually a result of things such as early age physical limitations, a lack of empathy from parents, or absent parents altogether. Now, inferiority is not always a bad thing. These feelings can lead to people doing great things in this world to prevent others from feeling inferiority. For example, a person who grew up without parents could develop feelings of inferiority, but then use those feelings later in life to run a foster home, doing something for the betterment of society. This is an example of someone striving for success. However, people can also take those feelings of inferiority and use them to gain personal power. For example, a person who grew up poor and felt inferior because of it could grow up to become one of the most money-obsessed individuals on the planet. This is an example of someone striving for superiority. Virgil is not striving for the betterment of humankind. Instead, he wishes to achieve personal superiority.
Shit. Why is there an ad? Dude, get the hell out of here. Moderate to severe ulceritis. Okay.
He strives to attain all the power in the world to make up for the feelings of inferiority he developed after that fateful day.
Yup, that's exactly what happened. Lore-wise, after that fateful day, right? Feelings of inferiority started to swell up, right? It's like the famous like quote, "You can't protect anybody, let alone like yourself." All stems from that fateful like once in a blue moon event when demons raided and Virgil was helpless to save Dante and his mom. So that like welled up, and also the fact that he was assaulted by demons as like, well, that that like trauma like made it so that Virgil is like, all right, I can't show like my inferiority. I rather like build my strength and be like this cool son of a gun, with like a weeb ass sword that does like longsword shit from Monster Hunter, and I'll be the best in the world. I will discard everything. I will discard everything to get like myself. I am stronger than anybody else. As the subtitle from DMC5, I am the Alpha and Omega. Nothing else. If you are anything outside of that, then you are like worthless. You are like nothing. And goes back to like Zero at this case.
According to Virgil, humanity is a source of weakness. But it's more specific than that. It is the emotions he felt during his incredibly traumatic experience that he despises.
Yep.
Emotions like terror, helplessness, and intense fear for his life.
Yep.
Dante was fortunate enough to have been found by his mother Eva.
Yep, and that's where like Dante's like, you know, a little bit better, right? Since Dante was inside the house, Dante actually found salvation and better character because Eve was luckily there to save him and kept him shelter and give him like, you know, the character that he needed, right? He was Mama's favorite. He was Mama's favorite sort of thing, you know? I'll have to look on like a character analysis for Dante though, because I roughly know very little about like Dante other than the fact that he was like, you know, abandoned and orphaned and then grew up to be like a devil hunter, right, over the years since his childlike years up to like now, or especially like in DMC5.
But Virgil wasn't so lucky. Virgil was left alone.
Virgil was left alone.
This is how
he went out buying
inferiority
books.
was developed. He was powerless to prevent the attack on his family and was left alone to suffer his trauma. As hard as she tried,
Virgil! Where are you, Virgil?
Eva never made it to Virgil.
Yeah, he was outside.
It is because of his humanity that Virgil was able to experience the emotions he did. Therefore, he linked his trauma to his humanity. So what did he do? He vowed to grow stronger. Virgil's crusade for power is in response to his trauma. By becoming the strongest, he will never have to experience that vulnerability ever again, because this time, the world will cower in fear at the sight of Virgil. However, Virgil does not recognize his feelings of inferiority, which is why he is obsessed with power. It is normal for Virgil to have felt helpless. He was a child with a horde of demons rampaging through his home. If Virgil can give himself the opportunity to explore those feelings, then I guarantee you he wouldn't be as obsessive over it. But this is a special case because Virgil has a very concrete example of power.
Wait, I just looked at like my download 00 and it's still not done? The fuck? What's going on? It's 99%. You should be done. 00, my G. Allah.
His demonic heritage. He is a super obsessive over it. But this is a special case because Virgil has a very concrete example of power. His demonic heritage.
His demonic father.
He is a superpowered individual because he is half demon. So it's easy to see why Virgil would be so straightforward in his thinking. We even see V retain those feelings of inferiority during the moments where he's flat out disgusted at the idea of being threatened by weaker opponents. These threats imply that he is weak as well, that he is inferior. So of course he'll take that to heart.
He's a weak, scrawny little bitch. He couldn't like fight back. He couldn't throw hands. The only way he could like kill like demons is through this like scepter right here. That's the only way V can like, you know, successfully kill opponents with the help of his like summons that he acquired through the course of like the manga. But dude, this guy's scrawny. This guy's not that powerful because he is the discarded weakness that Virgil tossed aside in order to gain more power. That's just how he is. You know?
If his whole character is trying to be superior. But more importantly, we also see V experience the fear and helplessness we were talking about earlier. V was back in the same situation that started Virgil's journey. Alone, powerless, and afraid. In the
Sort of like, you know, a looking at myself sort of thing. While Virgil, like, it's kind of like it's kind of like, you know, Prime Virgil. We could call it like Prime Virgil. Prime Virgil after like whatever happened with DMC1, after like being beaten by Dante once again, after being manipulated by Mundus. Prime Dante is like withered and old, right? Kind of like a reflection of V as how he is, right? Discarded. He needs more power. His final attempt to, you know, gain power once again was getting some of like his blood, his power from another source, and that was like Nero. Grabbed like Nero's like demonic arm, pulled it out of him, and then the arm transformed into Yamato. Because if you remember the events of DMC4, well, actually Nero's like a whole other different case. But in the game, when Nero was pinned down by Agnus, he actually awakened his devil trigger. The split, like Yamato, merged into one, and then it zooped to Nero. Like, what the fuck? I thought that was like Virgil's weapon. But once it, you know, like make the connection from 4 to 5, it's like, oh, that's why. And Nero says lines that are very similar to like Virgil. Power, give me more power. Or just like power in general. Right? Prime Virgil took Nero's arm, and when he went back to his like childhood home, he thought of the ultimatum, and he chose the route of becoming a demon and discarding his human half. Kind of like which in here, like, reflection. Like, Virgil is, V is experiencing what young boy Virgil felt in the presence of power, in the presence of terror, in the presence of fear. V felt that as like young Virgil, even though it's like, you know, himself. But Prime Virgil didn't see that. Prime Virgil was consumed with power. So what others thought of him as like, you know, fearful, powerful, it didn't matter to Virgil so long as power was in play.
The presence of a large and powerful demon, with the only words he can utter to himself being,
disk drive error. The fuck?
To die.
Disk drive error? Are we really ran out of space? No. What the Brother. We did not run out of space. Are you kidding me? HD Collection, King of Fighters, Marvel Rivals, Mega Man, Tekken 8. What the
Virgil.
What the fuck happened? Disk drive error. That's so... Update failed. Disk write error. We're probably gonna have to continue this. Alright, but, damn, that was fun talking about, let me just see the rest of the video.
Uses his search for power as a coping mechanism to avoid ever feeling that helpless and vulnerable again. And it was working. By V's own admission, it had been years before he ever experienced those emotions again. Virgil sought superiority to protect himself, but until he resolves his issue with his trauma, he will continue to search for more power. It is what he uses to cope, but it does not directly address his emotional needs. And that is...
It's like, what was it? How much more power do you want until it is, like, enough power? You know? Because, like, think about it this way. Urizen is like his final like form. But then we saw, like in DMC5, Dante beat Urizen with the power of Sin Devil Trigger after, like, you know, going back to his roots and stabbing Rebellion in himself and then finding the Ultra Tech, not Killer Instinct Ultra Tech, but the Ultra, like, tech of merging Rebellion with Dante and making the Devil Sword Dante and unlocking Sin Devil Trigger, his ultimate form. And that shit beat Urizen. But even then, Urizen Virgil was like, I need more power. Right? Until it's like, until like you accept, until like you make yourself like the winner, that power is like good enough. Right? Virgil was getting like cocky when he got Urizen. He trounced Dante, Lady, Trish, V. Well, he didn't fight V, but Nero as well. And he became the king. But once Dante beat him and completed the goal of like the Clifod, that was like the end goal. He was satisfied. But until Dante beat him, now he resorts to like, I need more power. It just like goes back to like a cycle, never satiated, never accepting like a loss. I want that run back. I want to feel like a winner. That's what like Virgil.
Is where Dante comes in. Dante is more than just an obstacle stopping Virgil from gaining power. He is a constant contradiction to Virgil's life. Virgil has developed an ideology that involves strength being the ultimate definition of a person. It is by living this way that he has prevented himself from ever feeling helpless again, and has made him one of the strongest beings on the planet. Being defined by strength worked for him, or at least it had worked for him, until Dante defeated him. That illusion of control he thought he had was shattered by his brother. This was not just any other defeat. This was an ideological defeat. Ironically enough, it's his emotional side that makes losing so anger-inducing for him.
Yeah.
There are times where we experience certain emotions as a reaction to things, and we don't even understand why we feel them. This is one of those moments for Virgil. We as viewers know that it is his emotional understanding of what that loss means to him that makes losing as big of a catastrophe as it is to him. But he will never be aware of that if he refuses to acknowledge emotions.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, he's not even aware of this until, like, he acknowledges that himself, right? Yeah, bitch, like, lost to Dante twice. Matter of fact, 3 times. Matter of fact, like, 3 times. Until he... Oh, I just thought of it. That cycle, this shit is fucking Izanami from Naruto. I'm quoting like Weebass over here, right? Sorry. To quote like my knowledge from Naruto, this is fucking Izanami over here. Remember that shit with like Sasuke and Itachi fighting Sage Mode Kabuto, and Itachi uses Izanami on Kabuto, and the implication of Itachi's Izanami to Kabuto was that Kabuto was like an orphan from the warring like era of shinobi, and he was he found out like his foster mother was like a shinobi sent to like kill him after like some years, and so Kabuto was like in the illusion that like if I acquire more people that I see as like power, I used Sage Mode. I grabbed like Uzumaki like hairline, the Uzumaki hairline. I grabbed Orochimaru. I grabbed this and I that. By gathering up all of these like individuals, I am like Kabuto, right? I am who I am because I grabbed all of these people. And it's like he's trying to use that as a counter to the prodigal Uchihas, especially Itachi, who's always like gifted with like ninjutsu, taijutsu, genjutsu, things like that. The perfect like child. someone like you who is super like privileged and entitled will never understand. By assimilating people into like myself, I am like who I am. I am strong that way. Until Itachi, did like some like loop genjutsu, which is the Izanami, and Kabuto like learned his lesson and got out of the loop. Virgil over here is like, yeah, after like every defeat, he will revert back to like, I need more power to make myself feel like comfortable. Without power, I will be weak. I will be nothing. I will be nothing. I will be the same scared little boy as I was when I was a child.
Virgil's justice in this world for the pain he felt is strength at all costs. Dante's justice in this world for the pain he felt is compassion for those in similar situations.
Yep. Right? And that's the humanity of Dante. Right? You see like his humanity through each of like the games. Or even like in the spin-off, or even like in the media ones. Patty with the DMC anime. Compassion for Trish, even though Trish was sent by Mundus to kill him, but you look just like my mother. Compassion in DMC3, even though DMC3 was like his origin, right, of his Devil Trigger, and learning about like his heritage and family, things like that. He learns what family means, and through the actions of Lady and Arkham and Virgil, he understands better about himself and this compassion. DMC4, he was just cool swagger man. Like, he's just there for a job. But once Yamato resonated with Nero, he's like, keep it, right? I know this is yours. I know this is like my brother's. But yeah, you let it have it, kid. Maybe it's better this way. That's why Dante's like the GOAT.
Virgil is motivated to avoid the pain that comes from human vulnerability, making him more cold-hearted and demon-like. Dante is motivated by embracing that pain, making him more compassionate towards other humans.
Yep.
Facing Dante is more than just overcoming an opponent. It's a battle of ideologies. By losing to Dante, it brings into question everything Virgil has believed to be true from his trauma.
And he doesn't want to accept
In
that.
Devil May Cry 5, he questions what if Dante and him swapped places during that fateful day? Would he still believe everything he felt to be true? Or would things be different? One more fight should make things clear.
And he still runs it back. One more fight. Kudos to like this guy, Champion Analysis. Kudos on this shit, bro. Like, damn, I was like awe-inspired. I gotta give like a special shout out on like Twitter, X, or Blue Sky. This guy does some like good shit, and I like agree with it. Wow, yeah. But back again. One last fight. Bitch even said like, okay, let's run it back. He ran it back with like Nero and did like this childish bullshit like, yo Dante, if I beat my son, then by default I beat you. So fucking dumb. I was talking about this with like Jerry, right? My Habibi, that yo, these boys are dumb. These boys are fucking dumb. They're idiots. Right? They're fight sexuals. Right? One's more like stoic and not as compassionate, while the other is more compassionate, but he's just living life. But they're both fucking idiots. You know? But Virgil does not ever want to accept defeat. Right? One last fight doesn't apply. The idea of one more always applies to Virgil. There's no, or like the idea of like no more last one doesn't apply. One more applies, but no more last one doesn't apply. That's Virgil. He will always run it back just to feel like I'm the king, I'm the op. Well, not the king, I'm the op. I am the op.
Thank you all so much for watching.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Damn, that shit was really good. Holy shit. I'll probably like make a video out of it. Wow. I want to look at a character analysis of Dante. Oh, there it is. Champion analysis. Dante's humanity. Right? Virgil's inferiority. Devil May Cry analysis. How much does this guy do? Playlists. Head full. Thoughts only. What if? Retrospective.
Welcome to
Dante's humanity. Virgil's inferiority. Nero's dead weight. Trish's identity. Ladies' guilt. Oh, ladies' guilt. I gotta see more of these videos. Holy shit. Right? And of course, right? At the end of the day, Chad, right? These are like action games, right? Not to like, you know, like, what was it? Make like a hypocritical like argument that like, oh, because it's an action game, so that does mean the story is like worthless? No. I always say that like story in games, themes in games are cool, right? I think of them as like accessories. They're cool things to ponder on. They're cool things to like think about. So long as like they're done well. In a game shouldn't be like the main focus of like the story. At the end of the day, you're still playing a game, right? And the Devil May Cry games are the literal like, you know, idea that they're just like games at the end. They're there for you to have fun, right? Devil May Cry 5 is like the peakest like action game like I can think of in terms of like that statement, because the plot and narration is like all over the place. What really it excels at is like character lore and depth and like connections to universe. Not like multiverses, but it's like DMC universe. You know, things like that. Paced well as like a story, I don't know. Right? It is an action game. You just climb up a tree, you go back, you go down, you shift from like different perspectives. So it's very like, you get a rough idea of where things are like going, but it is very like sloppy because you're shifting so much, right? So that is not very good writing, not very good pacing, but characters and lore and story, you can definitely like, you know, deal with that. Or sorry, you could definitely play around with that. Like just make like the characters cool and interesting and make them like flavorful. Like, yeah, you can make like an action game, have a lot of like, you know, depth and like, you know, depth and interesting to, you know, take analysis on. Right? Bayonetta is kind of like a similar way, you know? When you look at like Bayonetta, oh, hot girl witch. But there's more to Bayonetta than just like that. She's like a fighter, she's like a mother, she's a protective like person to the people like around her, you know? Very cocky attitude, you know, things like that. Mama be strong, right? So you can have like a wacky as fuck like, you know, action game, but you can you can have like little to maybe like little story. So long as like the story is not prevalent, I always think of it like 75% game, 25% story. That should be like the golden balance. Story should not be equal. Story should not be, you know, half, I feel, or even like 75. There are only like in some cases where that, you know, legit like happens like that. And that would be like, let's say, Final Fantasy, right? Final Fantasy 7, right? Where they tout like, you know, story and things like that. But that's like an RPG where they like have a really good emphasis on like story, you know? But this is like an action game. It's nice, but don't make it like the primary force sort of thing. Okay, homies, that's it for today. I gotta go to bed as quickly as I can. I gotta go to bed as quickly as I can. But thank you guys a ton for tuning in. Thank you to all the other people that were watching on YouTube and Twitch. I really appreciate it. I need to like go to bed. Yeah, shit like that. Damn. I'll let you know when I'll be back. Most definitely on Friday, and we're gonna play like some Garo. You know, maybe play like online. Maybe no, not online. Sorry. Try out training mode. Do like maybe judge the supers, judge the ultras, things like that. And yeah. And then Saturday we could do like the arcade ladder. But thank you guys a ton for tuning in. If you like what you saw, you can click that heart icon and sub button respectively. That way you'll be notified on when the Khaiza goes live, uploads a video, etc., etc. You could also do more support by subbing, and I don't need to explain subbing. You guys know what it is. But yeah, thank you guys a ton for tuning in. It's getting late. I gotta go to bed. I gotta sleep real quickly. Thank you guys a ton for tuning in. I'll see you like next time. No outro. And peace. See you next time.